Hello, Maverick traders. This is Rob Reinhold. This is the currency recap for September 13th, and boy, what a day we had. A bonkers day, and it all started off in the morning with the United States CPI report. Now, the CPI report came in much hotter than expected, and you can see the numbers here, bigger on month over month, bigger on year over year. The market was expecting a drop in month over month, and we did not get that. And so after the news, we saw a huge drop in the equity markets, and that equity market drop lasted all day, and it was the biggest drop since May of 2020. So we're talking about the worst down day in over 2 years. It was a big down day, and you can see the S&P was down 4.3%, the NASDAQ was down 5.5%, world equities down 4%, crypto got hit, down 6.2%. Down across the board, this is a big, ugly red candle that just really wiped out a lot of the recent gains. If we take a look at the S&P here, you can see what I'm talking about. We had 4 up days last week, and you can see we've pretty much erased all 4 of those days, and we are right back down to this support around the 3,900 level on the S&P. If we break below 3,900, next support is down here at 3,760. So we are bearish, we remain bearish, and you can see here the market just could not hold the gains based on that news. If we take a look at the world index, the VT, you can see same thing. We rallied up to that moving average. We fell right back down. If we take a look at cryptos, we can see that we bottomed out in the crypto basket right here between the 10,400 and 11,800 area, but we are right back into that range. So cryptos are, they're not looking great, but they're not terrible. I expect they will probably get a little bit more terrible, but we'll take a look at them all on an individual basis. But you can see if the currency basket breaks that support at 10,400, it is definitely bad news for cryptos as well. Last week, we did have to move to a 0 on our outlook as the market had rallied back up into the moving averages above the 50, but below the 20. So we really had to take a look at it and say, hey, you know what? We can't be as bearish as we were. Now you can see with this big turn down, we can now go back to a little bit more of a bearish viewpoint because the market is telling us, yeah, that move has likely been erased and we are very highly likely to break down to new lows. So let's take a look and see what's on the calendar for the rest of the week. You can see the CPI numbers we got today. Tomorrow, PPI. Now look, the PPI usually isn't a big deal, the producer price index. I think it's actually going to be a big deal because we got this big shock, these big numbers here today that really moved the market down, really large. Tomorrow, let's say there's a little bit of relief on PPI, we might get some of this 4% drop back. Maybe it bounces back 1%, 1.5%. Okay, maybe we get a little bit of that back. If this PPI comes in hot as well, I think we're going to get a continuation of this moving lower. So the PPI is not going to be as big of a deal as the CPI was. Again, the CPI moved the market 4%. I think the PPI has the potential to move the equity market 1%. But it's a big move. That's a big move. You can't ignore a 1% move in equities for a day. Then we have retail sales out of the US, and really nothing all that much more for the rest of the week. So let's jump into each currency. Let's take a look at them individually and score them for our velocity score. That's going to give us the pairs that we're going to be looking to trade over the next 24 hours. This is where we were over the weekend in our currency room, getting ready for the week. We talked about how dollar, Swiss franc, and euro were the strong currencies, and Kiwi and Aussie and the yen were the weak currencies, and we didn't like the cryptos then. We don't like them still. Let's see how these things moved today. So let's take a look first at cryptos. You can see down across the board, but Bitcoin being hit the most, Litecoin being hit the least, Ethereum right there in the middle of the pack. We still like Ethereum. Look, we still think the cryptos are going lower, but Ethereum has consistently been relatively stronger than the rest. We still don't like them long, but if you're going to be long one, it's Ethereum. We don't like any longs here, but it's outperformed on the way down. If we take a look at the crypto market, the dollar soared off the news. Big jump off the dollar. And we're going to take a look at dollar chart, and you're going to see that this thing is almost going parabolic over the last couple of days here. So dollar strong, Swiss franc strong. The yen actually strengthened a bit. We've talked about how the yen used to be a currency of safety that would go up when markets crashed. The Bank of Japan has broken it. But you can see a day like today, where the markets dropped 4.5%, the yen actually responded a little bit. So the yen acted a little bit like a currency of safety today. We still don't trust it. We still like yen short way more than yen long. But we can't ignore that, the yen is likely going to get a little bit of a bid if the equity markets get weaker. Euro held in there nicely. CAD held in there nicely as well. Pound pretty much flat. And the big losers were the Aussie and Kiwi. So let's take a look at all these on an individual chart. First off, we've got Bitcoin. You can see here having a nice little run. And then once that CPI report came out, all risk assets were sold off. And you can see everything is going to the downside now. RSI is going to the downside. EMAs are falling. Parabolic stars are falling. There's no reason at all to go buy this at all. Bitcoin Cash is in the same boat. Same boat, got a lot of momentum to the downside. Okay, yes, it could bottom out down here at the 112 to 114 area. Okay, but that's not here. That's not now. Right now, they are falling to the downside. So we do not want to be looking at anything short-term long here in the cryptos. Here we have Ethereum, same thing. We've got RSI moving down, EMA is moving down. Look, there could, again, be some support in this 1540 area to 1560. Okay. If we want to talk about a long position later in the week off of a bounce, okay. But right here, right now, no. There is no trade on Ethereum. If we take a look at Litecoin, we're going to see it actually was looking the best out of all of the cryptos, but it could not escape the CPI. So we're coming down here, maybe 54. We can talk about looking for a bounce, but I don't see a whole lot, maybe a little bit of support right here. But no, to me, I'm just not interested in cryptos. So let's move over to Forex. Let's see if there's anything going on here in Forex. Here is the dollar. And take a look here. We had a big run up in dollar, and we've had an ABC correction. This is potentially a wave one of the US dollar, which means that we're likely going to make new highs, even higher than what we set here in the 1st of September. Everything on the momentum side, on the velocity side, is saying go long dollar, rising EMAs, rising parabolic SAR, rising RSI. We have to admit, though, that the dollar has spent a lot of energy. So whenever something's spent a lot of energy, we have to buy it after a pullback or a base. I think we get more of a base over the next 24 hours, and I think you want to be looking to buy dollar long after it bases. Take a look at yen next. And you can see the yen, we just got absolutely crushed over the last 2 weeks. It's just finally just stopped going lower. That's it. On a 4-hour chart, you cannot be bullish on yen whatsoever. You can just go back to neutral on yen. And if we do get a market rally tomorrow or the next day, this yen is very highly to break down to a new low. So we do like short yen on any sort of risk on move. In a risk off move, yen probably holds in there. On a risk on move where the equities rally, we still like yen short quite a bit. So we're just not there. We think there's more downside to equities. So this may be a trade later in the week or a trade maybe even next week that we could look for. Let's move on to Swiss franc. Swiss franc was our other currency that we really like this week. And look at this. What's there not to like about the Swiss franc? It is going in one direction and it's got some velocity. We've got a nice steep EMA. We've got nice candles. Look, this is a hard trade because you look at it and say, oh, it's already gone too far. You could have said that last week, the week before, the day before. When trends go, they go, and they go till they stop. So if you want to take a look at maybe a shorter term time frame on a pullback or a base, we do like Swiss franc to the long side. Euro was one of ours that we liked on the long side. You can see we've just run out of a little steam here. We just run out of a little steam. So it still looks okay. It's just not on the top of the board. So for me, Euro is uninteresting at this point for a trade over the next 24 hours. We come over here to the pound. The pound had a big fall over this last week. We rallied up, we fell back down. Here we are, we're just in this range here. We're just in this range, and until anything happens, it's range bound. If you want to do some range bound trading on the pound, okay. I don't think it makes any sense because there are huge trends going on outside of the pound that we can take advantage of. So for me, pound, I'm just not interested in. If we switch on next to the CAD, you can see the CAD had a big run up. And then now we are just kind of doing this little base. We're doing this little bear flag here. I'm just waiting for CAD to break out. I like it. The momentum isn't there right here, right now. Show me some momentum, maybe even break up above this 91.80 on the Canadian dollar basket. That's going to be a good buy signal here to get long CAD. So CAD, not ready over the next 24 hours. It's probably going to be later in the week before it develops any sort of relative strength. Finishing off with Aussie and Kiwi. And you're going to see Aussie has been volatile lately. It hasn't really gone anywhere in the grand scheme of the last couple weeks. But you can see it's just trading between highs and lows. We are getting down to some support levels here. So I don't think you want to be short Aussie just right here, right now. If we can get a decent bounce in Aussie, I think it's worth taking a look at a trade short Aussie. But I just think we're really close to some support levels here. So I don't like Aussie right here, right now for a short. I do like the Kiwi though. So take a look at the Kiwi. We have broken. We have really broken this long support here that we've had. And you can see that we've had basically a 2-week low base and we broke down. This is a great time to get short because we based for 3 weeks. We have a lot of energy on this breakdown. At this point, we had a big move down. We got a doji. We're getting a green candle. Okay, let's let this thing float back up. If we can get anywhere up in this 69.40, 69.50 on the Kiwi basket, this is where we want to start looking for some short entries on Kiwi. So let's see what are the movements here of the last 24 hours. So we got Euro and Swiss franc have basically traded. The Euro doesn't look as good. The Swiss franc starting to look a little bit better. Dollar and Swiss franc, it's a clear call to make that they are the strongest currencies right here, right now. We have the yen improve a little bit. We're now no longer bearish the yen, but if we do get a market rally, I am immediately jumping onto short yen trades. I'm looking at things like dollar yen long, Swiss franc yen long, something like that, because I think those are going to be the right trades. But until the market rallies, I think the yen just stays here in the middle. And then again, let's go ahead and just put Aussie down here with the Kiwi. So we really have a couple pairs here. We have Aussie and Kiwi short. We have dollar, Swiss franc on the long side. Let's take a look at those crosses. I'm going to start with my favorite one, which my favorite short was Kiwi. My favorite long was the Swiss franc. So here is a 4-hour chart on Kiwi Swiss franc. And you can see the Swiss franc has just been going one way, and it's been going one way very powerfully. Okay, we just had this big acceleration of a tumble. So as you can see here, we are working our way down, we based, we worked down, we bounced, we went down, we based, we broke down. Okay, we just had a major breakdown. So after these major breakdowns, we typically see, 4 or 5 candles that are going to be either a bounce or a base. So if you think about this is a 4-hour chart. We're looking at 16 to 20 hours before we think there's going to be a potential next move that we can sell into. So I hate to say it, but this is the trade I really like, and I don't think it's going to be ready for at least 6 to 12 to maybe even 20 hours. At this point, I think we're looking at big moves that happened today. I think we're going to digest those moves for the next 12 to 24 hours before the next move. So I'm definitely looking to trade less over the next 24 hours, not take trades, and really come back maybe tomorrow in the US session when it opens and see if there's going to be another round of energy. And maybe that US PPI is going to be the thing that does it. Let's go ahead and take a look at Aussie dollar. And you can see here, Aussie dollar's running into some support here. So we got some support in the 67.20 area. That's where we are. I just don't see a trade here. Unless we bounce significantly up to 68.30, which I just don't see that happening. That's 100 pips. I'm just not too interested in this one here. So really the only one I'm interested in is Kiwi Swiss franc. And frankly, I'm looking to wait 12 to 24 hours before that one develops into another setup. So as I said, we are likely to digest this big move. I don't think we're going to get the same kind of energy we got over the past 12 hours. I think we're going to rest for a little bit. I think the Asian session and possibly the European session are going to be really, really boring, where if we just kind of consolidate, everyone kind of says, oh my gosh, what happened? The US PPI tomorrow could be the thing that pushes us out of that consolidation. That's going to be the next trading period I'm looking at. And really the only one I'm looking at then is Kiwi Swiss franc short. Thanks for joining me. That is Currency Recap. Goodbye, everybody.